Welcome everyone to a casted game for Age of Empires 4, and today spawning in the southeast corner of the map, playing in blue, we've got Gali Dekor playing as the Vietnamese. And his opponent in the northwest playing in red, we've got Ezra playing as the Abbasid dynasty. Welcome everyone to Dry Raven. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. I hope you're having a fantastic day, and we're going to have a cracking game today. We've got a new civilization. And now granted, it is a modded civilization, but hey, it's definitely going to be fun. Lots of new mechanics to talk about, lots of new units as well. Got the Vietnamese played on the skins of the Chinese, or the Jushi legacy really, but of course we can't change the flag name, but we've got the Vietnamese writing at the top, so you know exactly that it's Gali Dekor playing as a Vietnamese. It's a cool civ. It's a civilization that I feel a little bit underwhelming in terms of economy at the moment, but they do have a worker elephant, would you believe? We don't see one just yet. I'm kind of excited to see if he does make some of these. Now, it is a mobile universal resource drop-off, so you can pop them onto the deer camp and, you know, just make it really efficient for yourself. It is pretty expensive, so I don't know about this. It's 150 resources. Now, granted, a mill costs you 50 resources as standard. It's like, you need to be able to justify not making 3 mills just to break even. It's not really a unit used in combat that much, but it does have some interesting upgrades with certain landmarks you may choose to go for. Either way, looks like pretty standard opening here for the Vietnamese. And he's picking up a lot of sheep actually, holy moly. Now I think, to be fair, it looks like probably he's got the extra line of sight on the scout. Yeah, he definitely has the extra line of scout that the the Chinese usually have. So that's a nice bonus for them as well. That's for sure. Back gold for the Abbasid dynasty. Now querying what they're going to be opting for, like a couple of options for them. Typically do see them open miniature wing, getting spearmen and archers with it, and then go for a second town centre, but of course time will tell exactly what the Abbasids have up their sleeves. Nearly there in terms of food income, but it's going to be the Pho Minh Tower for the Vietnamese. I think it's definitely a really nice choice for them. Like it makes a lot of sense, this landmark. The other landmark, you can get one pillar pagoda, which acts as a mill, that trains work elephants at 50% discount, but again, are you really going to use them that often? It also provides access to 2 unique technologies, elephant trainers and lumber carriages, which do buff the work elephants. I believe in terms of buffering the villager work time or build time that are around the elephants. I can't remember what the other one was, but either way, we're probably not going to see that today anyway. One thing I think the elephants do come and play with is for farms, because the rice terraces, actually I should say, for the Japanese, they cost a little bit of extra wood. Instead of your usual 75, they cost 100. And they actually occupy more space, 3 by 3. So it's a bit tricky to get them all around the town centre. I think it makes a lot of sense to make like a rice, the rice terraces, and then get the war elephants, or worker elephants I should say, just in around them in the middle, so that villagers can drop off the food. It's going to be the Pho Minh Tower though, however. It's going to be a defensive landmark and give them... It's going to act as a hideout, which is quite nice as a static defense, but more importantly, it's going to give the hideouts that they do build out on the map, instead of outposts, it gives them the ability to make the infantry units, spearmen, archers, crossbowmen, arquebusiers. Now I know what you're thinking, what the heck are those? And we'll probably come on to that a little bit later. It's going to be a nice, unique unit for the Vietnamese. Now you might be thinking, well, it's way too overpowered, right? You just make an outpost, 75 wood, half the cost of a production building, and you can make the units, but it does take 75% longer to make them, so you've got to bear that in mind. Maybe we won't see too many worker elephants, but going to be a house out on the field. Bear in mind that this is actually kind of an interesting structure. It has like a bannerman sort of effect with the Japanese, so it increases the damage of all these units, range, cavalry, melee, you name it. The only thing it doesn't increase is the siege damage from units, so that's one thing you can think about the Vietnamese getting forward positions with those houses. Also, the hideouts actually increase the movement speed of the units for the Japanese, but for the Vietnamese. And so it's something you can often see houses and hideouts placed on the map. Gives extra vision, extra speed, extra attack. Now for the Abbasids, it will be the economic wing. Went with Fertile Crescent, also looking to get the fresh foodstuffs upgrade as well. So possibly multiple town centres could be coming out for the Abbasids. Now, I hope you guys have been enjoying the content, and I really do appreciate the support you guys have been giving, whether it be on Twitch or YouTube. Guys, absolute legends. Thank you, thank you, thank you. If you could ask for a small favour for those guys watching on YouTube, if you do drop a comment in the comment section below, maybe your most favourite emoji, just drop it in there. It helps me out with the YouTube algorithm side of things. Really appreciate you guys. And we've been having some great games in Age of Empires 4 recently, I've got to say. It's been a lot of fun, especially casting games from the Vietnamese. If you're interested, I did cast a game that Beastie was playing as the Vietnamese. It's worth checking out on the channel at some point. I wouldn't click off this video though, because I know for a fact it's going to be a banger. Otherwise it wouldn't make it onto YouTube. I can tell you that for sure. There's that second town centre placed for the Abbasids on that wood line. Quite close to the stone vein, so I wonder if he's going to opt for a third town centre. Something they can often do. It's a bit greedy at times, but we shall see. Well, it looks like the Vietnamese opting for the castle age behind this. Maybe looking to pick up some relics and then add a second town centre afterwards. It's actually something that's commonly being done these days by a lot of civilizations. You know, the Ayyubids come to mind. For sure, Jushi Legacy as well. They can often do this. Get for the castle age, pick up some relics, and then opt for a second town centre to catch up a little bit with their enemies. The Ayyubids for sure, because they get Growth Wing, which gives them 8 villages to get to the castle age. So even if the enemy does go for a second town centre, you know, you're absolutely fine. Question in chat, what map is this? This is the good old Dry Arabia, the classic map. The map that everyone seems to know and love and enjoy. Hope you're doing well, 13DAZE, welcome in on the Twitch side of things. Gonna be seeing some good Vietnamese action today. Well, this is the thing about actually going for only one outpost. It actually is a bit tricky denying the gold. Because the outpost being on this side, the archers might just be able to range the villagers. Although Arislitz makes it a lot more tricky. New player here, welcome on in. It's always great to have new players, welcome in. Hopefully you're enjoying the game. It can be a bit tricky at times. It's a challenging game for sure. But glad to have you here. And I think it's the big thing about the custom mods that we should just talk about whilst we've got a bit of downtime. It's a big part of RTS games actually. It really helps boost up the community, gives them extra content to play with, and I think it's very healthy for the scene, of course. The bigger the community, the more games you get, the more content you can make, the more tournaments you're probably going to have, and you know, there's a more healthy ladder when you're going for matchmaking and all the rest of it. So big shout out to Hosin, who actually made the mod for the Vietnamese, and also Chile Empire, who I believe designed the civilization. Speaking of which, let's talk about the civ design and think about the rice terraces, by the way. Whilst they do cost more, they actually gather 30% faster, which is pretty cool. But also to think about the Castle Age landmarks. You've got two options. You've got the Imperial Citadel, which acts as a keep, enables a tunneling, which is kind of a teleportation thing. It's kind of cool. They can use, you know, the units can be around the Imperial Citadel and then, I guess, transport their way over to any sort of keep, town centre, or other landmarks on the map. Also does have the ability to make the Resistance headquarters, which is exactly what it's making at the moment. Acts as a second town centre for nearby villages being stealthified as well, and traders too. That's kind of a nice way to get to the castle stage, right? You should be able to pick up some relics, but also keep up with the villager count slightly. Now adding in a second town centre effectively. Now, considering both players are adding multiple town centres, you're probably expecting the game to go to the mid to late game at least. And so that's where map positioning or RNG spawning of things are kind of important. Relics are kind of equidistant, I gotta say. It's actually pretty fair. Like, there's 3 down the middle and there's 1 on each side. So I think it's very much fair in that regard. Sacred sites, pretty fair as well, to be fair, to be honest. I mean, yeah, it's kind of, there's not much to talk about. It's all pretty fair. In terms of the gold veins as well, both down in the middle. The 8,000 gold tiles. This is actually a very fair map spawn, I gotta say. Probably one of the best I've seen in a long time. Berries on the back. Does actually snipe a villager, would you believe? A couple, actually. Yeah, so it does have an outpost. It wasn't enough to deny the villager kills, or stop the villager kills. No. Triple archery range. So really looking to leverage the fact that the Abbasid dynasty are going to go for the military wing. Kind of anticipated that because they'll then get boot camp and also composite bows. Makes it quite nice for those archers. I gotta say, it's really an interesting one for the Abbasids because archers generally aren't really a unit that scales super well in the mid to late game. Like when you factor in the enemies having access to heavily armored units, archers kind of tickle. Now granted, composite bows can change that a little bit, but again, Is it? Yeah, I think it's good as a support unit, but ultimately you've got to be making much more of a meat shield unit in front of them. And yeah, I'm still a little bit less convinced by it. Composite bows is great, but I guess it depends on the context of the game, really how much benefit the archers will get. I mean, if you can master them up into a big death ball, it can be really powerful. We shall see. Well, there's that second town centre, effectively the resistance headquarters for the Vietnamese. And now, I wonder if he's going to get a monastery. There it is, yeah. Going to get two, in fact. Looking to pick up relics quickly, quick time, and getting it up for the knights from the stable. Playing it pretty standard, actually, as things go. Hopefully we see some unique units from the Vietnamese. Military wing just about to come on in, and he will need to make a mosque after that. Doesn't really have the wood for it, which is actually kind of intriguing. So Ezra might miss out on a couple of relics, especially when you factor in there's been a double monastery play for the Vietnamese, and he's got units on the field as well. So really good uptime for the Vietnamese, I've got to say. Obviously missing out on, he's, you know, had to trade in a couple of villages for that. He's a couple behind, but he won't fall behind considering he's got a second town set himself now. And I think if he can pick up the lion's share of the relics, then it's probably worth it. Now, the archery range is really what holds the Vietnamese really strong, right? It's kind of really known as a ranged unit kind of army that they have. That's really powerful for them. Got a couple of things to talk about. We'll talk about in a second, though. These cavalry riders from the military wing can do some damage. I think it's a fight that generally the Vietnamese should win, considering just sheer numbers. So it does back away, even despite the Camelanese being there. But yeah, on the thought of the archery range. Now, the Vietnamese actually have an extra ranged armor they can take. Rattan shields. It's going to be basically similar to the blacksmith upgrade. It's like an extra blacksmith upgrade, to be all honest, and it's a nice upgrade for them for sure. What's kind of cool about them is they do get the Zhaoji arquebusier, so expensive hand cannon here. We might come see that hopefully soon. The great thing about it apparently has splash damage, which is kind of crazy. So it does attack great in large masses, as we see in the tooltip. I'm excited to see maybe some of those pop out. For now though, mostly lancers, a couple of archers for the Vietnamese. They're going to challenge and just take out some villages if they can. Hasn't been able to get too much joy since having killing the two villagers earlier in the game. Rice fields, rice terraces start to scale up nicely. Now I suspect the food income should be pretty decent for the Vietnamese. It is indeed, and that I guess that's probably the heart of the economy, those rice terraces. They might be wondering, well, it costs an extra 100 wood, and you know, it's going to be a bit tricky for the wood economy, right? It must mean a very hard farming transition. And yeah, I guess it probably does. But one thing to note about the Vietnamese, they do have improved lumber preservation, or the lumber upgrades. Instead of the usual 15% gather rate increase each time, for each age, theirs is 20%. There's a lot of spearmen. Gonna have to ride away with those lancers. Does exactly that. Couple of crossbows, getting a couple of hits for free, but should be able to get out of there relatively unscathed. They did lose one lancer, though. Got to go around the long way to pick up those relics. Already one in the bank, picking up two more. As we see another one on the way there. Going to be certainly getting the lion's share of those relics, especially considering this one is really up for grabs on his side of the map. Farming transition coming in for the abbasids. So we're probably going to see a lot of units pop out soon, right? This is where things kind of stall out when the farming transitions are needed. It looks like the Vietnamese have been doing it slowly but surely. A couple of villages idle there. The Abbasids have kind of got theirs underway too. Picking up yet another relic, the Vietnamese. Pretty passive for now, but you know, we have a saying on the channel that things do speed up a little bit near the mid-game. When they start off like this, it means that they're developing a great economy then to pump out units with. Yeah, it looks like the Abbas is starting to really pump out buildings. Now, I wonder if he's got tier 2 of the Golden Age. No, not yet, not yet. It's quite far behind that. Oh no, he's just got it now. Just about now. We're increasing that reset speed just to accompany the villager gather rate. The question is, what is that for the tower? This is the Fomin Tower. It's a defensive landmark. It allows the extra outposts or hideouts in this regard for the Vietnamese to then make units. Also is able to garrison units. Bear in mind the hideouts can't actually have emplacements for the Vietnamese. So they do have to garrison units in. But when they do, they get poison arrows from the outposts or the hideouts. It's quite nice actually. Some really interesting mechanics for sure. Oh, here comes the engagement though. The Abbasid charging on him with the spearmen, trying to get on top of those lancers if they can, but I don't think he quite has enough here. As well, Camel unease will be working on those lancers, so he definitely has to be a bit careful. Mangonel deploys on the archers, doesn't quite get too much of a hit on them. Only picked up one archer really, or did damage to one archer. Lancer diving in on the Mangonel, should get it in the end. Snipes it out, but not before taking a couple of rocks to those archers. And he's taking this fight, but I don't know, there's a decent number of Gulams, a decent number of spearmen here. There's Camel unease. I'm not so sure about this fight for the Vietnamese. He's backing away now. Defender's advantage, obviously, really helping out the Abbasids, and that fight really went in their way. And the Vietnamese having to back on out. And a question in chat, when does the Civ come out? Well, the Civilization is actually a custom mod, so it's not an official one, but so it's technically already out. You can play it if you like, you just can't play it on the ranked ladder or anything like that. The way to do it is if you go to the custom mods lobby or search thing, type in Vietnamese. It's a tuning pack. You do have to choose the Chinese though, and then add in the tuning pack. Unfortunately, the modders haven't been able to add in actual extra civilizations, so they have to just edit the ones that are there. So in this scenario, they edited the Chinese. Of course, the modders are kind of working on limited capabilities or limited access to the game or limited resources they can use, and not resources but limited I guess limitations. They're limited. That's really what I mean. They have some limitations, I'm afraid. Now behind this, the Abbasids have the ability to make the siege engines on the field, and that's exactly what they're going to do. Getting a Mangan out. Plenty of food in the bank. It's something that the Abbasids actually often have the problem with, right? Fresh foodstuffs. It really kicks in. See, he's almost 1,000 food floating at the moment. He's a bit more gold, and maybe could even think about the Imperial Age. If he does actually idle the production for about a minute, he would be able to afford the Imperial Age. Possibly looking to ride in on that wood line. Torches are out. Now forward production buildings for the Vietnamese might be under pressure. Villagers are running away from that wood line, understandably so. There's not much of an army here, gotta say though. The Vietnamese could be under pressure going around the south with a lot of cavalry. Looking to maybe raid. The Fomin Tower will buy some time. And as long as he keeps on pumping out units at home to defend with, he'll be alright. Maybe looking to pick off some reinforcements with the cavalry if they do ride into the middle of the map. Looks like that's the case. That's what he's opting for. Having to rely on the wood line on the back, which is not ideal. Cavalry about to charge on in. Pick off some stray units. Maybe pick off the Mangonel. Oh, he's going to pick it off. He spots it there, Ezra. Yeah, unfortunately, will lose the Mangonel. Great pick off there by Gully. It stalls out the bush quite significantly. Could potentially look to get us around, but there's too many spearmen, I think. I don't think he can really challenge that. Oh, he's diving with a couple of horsemen. That is not ideal. Loses about 2 of them for free. He's picking off reinforcements really nicely with those cavalry units. He's fighting underneath that tower and the town centre, but he's got Gulam, so he won't feel too bad about doing that. Horseman numbers starting to thin a little bit, but he's picking off a lot of units on the way. He's got a lot of crossbows there on the back line. That's going to be great at dealing with those Gulams. It's going to do a lot of damage. That's for sure. Yeah, this is a good engagement by Gully. He's picked off reinforcements. He stopped them coming on in, although now they're starting to overwhelm a little bit of the reinforcements. He's spamming out units of Abbasids. Trying to overwhelm. It looks like it's going to be a good hold. A lot of units popping out for the Vietnamese. Crossbowmen, horsemen, a couple of lancers added in. It's a strong army. Now he has five relics rather, and 2 sacred sites. So that gold income is going to be very efficient. Only 2 villages on it, but almost keeping up with what Ezra's up to. He's got 25 villages on it. Now, we are certainly heading to the phase of the game where 20 minutes is on the clock and you start thinking about these extra juicy gold veins, and it looks like Ezra's thinking the same thing. Looking to get a keep in the north, and both players might look to try and secure the one in the south as well. Trying to get on top of the ranged units as horsemen, but the Gundam do start to block. Good number of crossbows though, and looks like the crossbow is going to try and take out as many of the Gundams as possible to allow the horsemen to dive on the archers, but it's a good choke point to fight in here for Ezra. I got to say, that wood line really helping out, stopping the horsemen from wrapping around. Gundam numbers though starting to dwindle, that front line is starting to evaporate for Ezra, but so are the horsemen. Still, horseman numbers still looking good. Yep, he has to back away here, Ezra. He's trying to. He'll lose the Gundam. The horseman might chase, but it does have an outpost to retreat to be fair. And these veteran archers, I suspect they'll have composite bows. We'll just double check on that. He does indeed, and boot camp. Boot camp giving the extra 15% HP. Composite bows giving the attack speed extra. And that's got a lot of infantry that could be exposed pretty soon from that mangonel. But here comes Ration shields. Gives him an extra ranged armor, despite being in the car stage. He's got +3. We're going to get military academy to keep on pumping out. Mangonel might deploy here. Could get some good shots here. There are no spring odds here for the Vietnamese. This could be dicey. Shoots on off. Goes for the villagers maybe. No, it's just the hideout. He does actually take a villager with the archers on the back line. The hideout doesn't go out in the end. Unfortunately, Ram's going to ram it down. No deleting on that. So Gully will lose the wood as well. Looks like he's going to be trying to hold on. He's backing away. The Abbasid dynasty about to push on in. And the big concern though for Gully is that there's siege involved, right? There's a ram. There's mangonels. He's got to be careful with those ranged units. Pops up. Here's the Springle. That's exactly what he needs. First shot comes off. Mangonel, pretty static, not paying attention. He might lose the Mangonel. Does lose the Mangonel there, Ezra. That's absolutely huge. Allows the archers, allows the crossbowmen to fight here freely. The man-at-arms, or Gulams really, at the front line, are getting absolutely smashed. And that's going to allow the cavalry to dive in on those ranged units. Ezra is going to have to back away with those archers if he wants to keep them alive. Trying to do so now. Camels? Cavalry about to chase. He's got a Mangonel of his own now, the Vietnamese, pushing on out. And all of a sudden it's the Abbasids on the back foot, bit of a tug of war. He's really picking apart those spearmen though. Even on the retreat he's getting some great value. Looking to get a keep down in the south now. Gali, he wants gold and is going to keep it protected with that keep. Oh, looks like Ezra was thinking of a keep of his own, but he's going to run into problems. I was going to find out the hard way. There's no way he denies that keep, I don't think. Oh, he spots it now. Gali going to send more villagers, but I think he might lose a villager or two here as well. It's in range, right? Oh, it is. He's going to get another one, maybe. He does. The village coming out to fight for Gully. He's going to battle for it. I wonder if he goes for... He's actually going to talk... Yeah, he's got a lot of villagers there. There's 27 villagers. This doesn't go off Ezra. This could be really painful. And ultimately, he can't delete it. I mean, he can delete it, but he won't get the full stone refund if he does. And by the time the keep goes up, it's going to go down. Torch damage is huge. He's sending the army now, though. Crossbows might get surrounded by the cavalry. Mangonel deploys. He's fighting in the stealth forest. Mangonel can't quite get the shot off. Not in range. And he's backing off heavily. He's bringing in more villagers to torch down, and sure, the keep goes up, but it's below half health. And there's no upgrades just yet. This is unfortunate. 3 Mangonels going to deploy and dish out so much damage on those archers and the Abbasids. They can lose all of them. That's unfortunate. The massive torch damage takes down the keep very quickly. And there has been a lot of idle time. Did lose a handful of villagers. With the keep down now, he now gets access to gold. I mean, Gali had to do that, really. Had to get that gold access to be able to maintain production. It's going to be the Imperial Age, though, for the Abbasids. Going to go with the culture wing and also keep at home to defend with. The economy's been great so far, and he can afford another keep as well if he wants to. Well, Gali, he's not happy about the vision given away. Takes out the outpost and then groups up in the middle. I wonder if trade could be an option for both players. There are some good positions on the trade post, I've got to say. We could potentially head in that position, but that's a lot of military that the Vietnamese have now. That tech up to the next stage for Ezra really wiped out his food income. He's wiped out his food bank, really. This could be dicey. He gets the Imperial Age, but can he afford anything with it? He just needs to pump out units. The trouble is, he can't afford units and upgrades at the same time. This could be a really hard hold for him. And behind this, it looks like the Vietnamese quite like to go the Imperial Age themselves. Does of course have two options. In fact, let's take a look at them. Has the Imperial Garden, produces powerful rocket elephants. Can choose to train it for free for 120 seconds. We'll pay the full price. We'll talk about it in a minute though, because there's a lot of aggression coming in here. He's going to go with the Trung Foundries, so we'll talk about it in just a moment. We'll see what he can achieve with the army here. Ezra going to snipe out one siege engine, about to try and poke another one, doesn't quite manage it. Gali Deco backs away for now. Maybe Gali waits for the Imperial Age, we shall see. It's going to be Trung Foundries. Can train gunpowder units here. Jiaoji Arquebusier, Bombard, Culverin, also their Broadcom. That'll give all the gunpowder units and chemistry upgrades cost 20% less. That's incredibly strong, actually. Really, really powerful units for, you know, big discount. Well, that's a lot of villagers being idled out. Spearmen, though, will brace and take care of the horsemen pretty quickly. Kind of throwaway units for the Vietnamese there, I guess. No one actually on gold at the moment. It's got plenty in the bank. Although, once he starts queuing up all those upgrades, he might need some more villagers on gold for sure for some units. Just dropping down the siege engines, and yeah, Gali there waiting for the upgrades before jumping on in with his army. They're mostly standard units, no unique units for the Japanese here. Gotta say, that landmark is beautiful. Holy moly. Plenty of stone in the bank for the abbasids. Could afford a good few keeps. I wonder where he would possibly place them. Maybe stone walls potentially, either way. Gali moving north, looking to challenge that gold vein actually. Yeah, I was going to try and get a keep in that spot. He might just manage it. I mean, he might lose a couple of villages if they go around the right side of it, because it's going to be in range of the keep, right? So yeah, he will. Yeah, he's focusing on villages now. Gali, yeah, deletes it. He loses 2 villagers. Trying to get a sacred site in the middle, but probably won't happen. There was the military there for the Abbasids, although this might happen again. He's going to try and keep up to deny the gold in the north, but villagers getting the shivs out to... it might be a turnaround this time. It's Ezra's turn to torch the keep. He's going to go for villagers first, actually, and get torches out. Ezra, torch it. Oh, okay. He's not going to be able to. There's a lot of units. Holy smokes. And that's actually pretty devastating for Ezra. If he loses access to gold, could be a big deal. I mean, yeah, he can't deny this. Not with this number of units, not with the mangonels involved. He's going to lose a couple of villages as well, trying to mine as much as he can, whilst he can. Does still have a bit of gold to take in the north there. I think he's got to take it now before he gets fully pushed off this position. Can try and push in the middle though, now that the army's out of position for Gali there potentially. Mangonel deploys, gets a good hit there for sure. 3 Springalds versus 3. Really even spread in terms of siege, and both players do lose their mangonels. I wonder who's going to lose more siege. It looks like there might just be slightly better there for Ezra, and he does manage to snipe it. Although, the man-at-arms, they thought about going for the siege, and it was going to be a good clean-up there for the Vietnamese. Took out the army. I wonder if you start to see some siege engines for the Vietnamese to put some pressure on, because he's definitely got a lot of military on the field. His population cap 200. Getting tithe barns as well. 5 relics tithe barns is going to be epic. Gives you 40 food, 40 wood, and 10 stone every minute from each relic. Now, that's going to be massive. He's slowly being pushed away. Now we do see the Jiaoxi arquebusier on the field for the Vietnamese, and in good numbers actually. So he's really starting to mass them up behind the man-at-arms. And here's the first of possibly many bombards. But keeping that position does still give him access to the gold, which is all important. And I wonder if he might start thinking about trade. Because it doesn't have a full source of gold long term. I can say that much. I've got to say, Gully's been pretty passive with his army so far. Like, he does have population capacity, just doesn't have the gold to replace the army, I guess. If he loses it, so maybe a little bit hesitant of jumping on in just yet. He's also just looking to get some extra upgrades too. What's going on here? Plenty of stables. Looking to go for a horseman switch. That'll help deal with a lot of the ranged units actually from the abbasid, so I do like it. I love the fact he's hiding at the back. The villagers trying to fight this off. That's not going to work too well. I mean, this is an elite Ghulam. He's going to have to send units there. Either way, taking the fight, horseman diving on in. But this is a fight that I think Gully just wins, right? The sheer numbers is absolutely huge. The Jiaoxi arquebusier, the crossbows, the archers, the man-at-arms rip through that army, and I've got to say the Abbasids kind of in trouble there. Well, they did lose a couple of villagers, Gully. Nothing too terrible. He split up the army, he's got to be careful. He might get surrounded with the horsemen otherwise. Speaking of which, does pick up a couple of horsemen. They're looking to try and raid the farms, but there is a keep there, of course, trying to snipe the bombard. Villagers come out to repair. Oh, that's clutch play. Does he keep it alive? Yeah, the horsemen can't even get it. They go for the villagers. Interesting play. He split up the army. He's making a force go through down the middle, trying to stop by the bomber. Villagers didn't quite repair in time, so it does take out the bombard in the end. So nice pick off. This good, I'm still raiding heavily. The keep is on fire, and I think he has a couple of villagers garrisoned inside. They need to repair quickly if they want to. Sacred site's all captured, and he's diving in, Gully, right around the back. Killing some villagers, getting rid of some farms. He does lose the keep in the end, though. And so now, Ezra can take gold again, at least for now. Although the man-at-arms might dive in there and deny it. There's a mangonel. Could be some juicy shots here. Let's say juicy shots. But juicy. Juicy! My god. Tongue twisters at times. Well, he's not deploying the mangonel. Strangely enough. He's deploying one here. Bombard. Or he might not repair this in time. Ezra, he will lose it. He tried to with the villager, I think, for a second, but it was a little bit too little too late. And the mangonels are being sniped by the infantry, no less. This mangonel stays alive for now. He's diving in underneath the keep, which is not going to be too good for him. He's going to lose most of his units here, Gully. Did he just overstep the mark a little bit? He does have plenty of food and gold in the bank though, so probably not. He should be able to keep pumping out. We'd love to see him actually put down forward production buildings. He's got the wood for it. I think it would really help keep up the momentum. And after all of that, it's a tug of war, isn't it? See Ezra with a military lead, and he's going to start trading as well. It should be a pretty decent trade route in terms of gold income. He's fully population capped though. So he's going to need to start using his army. Oh, this could be a big pick-off. If he torches down the keep before attacking the villages, give the attack notification down. He'll kill a couple of villagers. Torch the keep! Torch the keep! Oh, I don't know about that. I felt like he had enough horsemen just to torch the keep and kill it outright, but he went for the villagers instead. And now the army's in position. I feel like there's a missed opportunity there. Gully going to push away the elite horsemen. They're going to dive in the base around the front. Try to wall up and create a bit of a choke point. Did a decent job of it. Does trap some of the horsemen. This time the keep will go up. Looking to idle the farms if they can, but there is a keep there as well on the gold vein, so it should be safe and secure, denying or decapping the sacred site. Gonna go for the farm and transition around the back. There's not too much here to protect, so could peel off a couple of horsemen, deciding to go rather further back. Try to lure him into the spearmen. Trying to snipe as many villagers as possible. Should get one here. Does indeed. A question in chat. Chancey Wilson. I mean, it's just part of the civilization design for the Vietnamese. It does give them extra food, 30% gather rate extra, but it does cost more as well, 100 wood. That's a lot of villagers going down that full position. Gali, he's losing a couple to the raids, I've got to say, actually. This could be very tricky, like he is starting to feel the pinch a little bit in the economy. He's got plenty of bank resources, so he'll be fine for now, but he can't continue to lose so many villagers. Granted, he can just make them again. He's got 2 town centers after all, and it might be doing him a favour in the end, if it does ramp out his military production, which seems to be the case. But he's got to get some siege against this number of archers. There's a lot of them for the Abbasids. He's been mining gold for quite some time. Oh, look at that though. The man-at-arms coming from the north. Added in with the hand of the Zhaoji. That's going to be devastating for those archers. This is the thing, right? The Abbasid archers, they're good, but how well do they really scale to the late game when you're up against man-at-arms? It's always tricky. Granted, they don't cost any gold, but if you lose too many fights in quick succession, you might be overrun. Horseman going to dive on the gold and cause some issues for sure. Trying to cut off the gold income, but he's got plenty in the bank. Stone walls are coming up. It makes a lot of sense, right? There's a lot of cavalry on the field for the Abbasids, so he wants to try and narrow the gaps and make sure it can't be fully raided all the times, and the best way to do that is with static defenses. It is with stone walls. So Gali going to try and push through down in the middle. As a consequence, the Zhaoji ripped through those horsemen so quickly. I love the fact that villagers do this. They're actually on the stone wall and they start building. It protects them so much. A couple of trebs starting to work down on the keeps, but it will take some time. And the Vietnamese should be able to hold on for the foreseeable future. 10 minutes at least. He's got 200 population, so be quite happy with this. Plenty of banked up resources. How's it going, Blue Goose on Twitch chat? How you doing, buddy? Welcome on in. Seeing a late game Vietnamese is kind of interesting. I'm kind of curious to see how well the Zhaoji do. They do have splash damage, so they're apparently good if they're in a big mass of them. It's got a decent number of them. Splitting up the army a little bit though. It's a bit of an awkward one. It's fighting in the stealth force. Should clean that up really well though with the man-at-arms. Nicely down all those horsemen about to venture on in. Going to stomp out the bombard and siege. And those spearmen are nowhere near there where they need to be. That's unfortunate. Loses the bombard, kind of caught out of position a little bit gully, but he has split up the army, still getting some value himself. Snipes that one trebuchet, should get a second, could even potentially get that mangonel, we have to see. But the horseman coming around the back, doing lots of damage to the Zhaoji. That's not where they want to be. There's no meat shield in front of them. Does lose all the siege though, Ezra. And the spearmen are engaging now. They're going to clear this up in the end. Nice clear up, that's for sure. Gully pushing on in. 94 military versus 17, looking a bit dicey here for the Abbasid's, especially the lack of gold. At least for now. The traders though, getting 70 gold per minute, or per trade, per trip. It's a decent amount. But he's got to get gold in fast. He's got to find a way to stem the bleeding here. There's a lot of units coming in forward for Gully. You can see the sea of blue units, they're trickling in. Big thing is he's trying to cause as much idle time as he can to the economy, but Ezra has got 130 eco units. He's jumping on in. Horsemen look a bit tricky though for the Abbasids. They don't seem to be getting too much value with this number of spearmen and infantry on the field. I wonder if he might start to switch. To be fair, archers haven't been getting too much value either. Mango about to deploy on the crossbows. Should be a good shot. Gets a decent amount of HP off them. And another shot will kill them. There it goes. Ezra. Oh, he didn't actually land too well on that, surprisingly enough. Either way, it won't matter. The man-at-arms and spearmen take care of the rest. The big thing is if Gully can get on top of the trade, that's really going to hurt. He does have all 3 sacred sites as well, not to mention the 5 relics. Let's group in together, Gully. Looking to go for another big push, but no bombards just yet. Feels like he needs some, just to take the static defenses and structures down. Without it, it's nice to idle things, but he's not really making any headway without siege. Looks like Ezra looking to try and get a flank around, but there is stone walls, so can't really manage it through there. And Gully will spot this with the outposts. He may be looking to try and deny the sacred site, actually. That could be a play. He's going to charge on in. Poor villager. Or maybe not. There's a lot of spearmen. Mangonels deploy. Oh, horsemen absolutely getting decimated by the Jiaoji and the Mangonels alike. Trying to cycle around the south side. Should potentially take out a bombard, maybe. Doesn't want to commit to it and lose everything. So he keeps a couple of units alive, but they're riding underneath the keep as well. There's a cannon in placement, so again he's suffering with the horsemen. Looking to maybe try and dive in and raid, but a bit of a playpen created and manages to get through. That's a lot of villagers. Oh, there's no gate there. The Gully, it's 200 population, right? It doesn't really matter. The bank of resources is actually looking crazy for him. Looking to wall up the sacred sites, keep them safe and secure and sound. This one definitely safe and sound behind the palisades and the stone walls. Although to be fair, I think they should be able to pass through there. And believe it or not, he's actually heading back. Gully, not pushing on in. Does have one bombard, or yeah, he has one bombard. Believe it or not, Ezra's going to go for the trade wing behind all of this. Yeah, the outpost kind of scuppered him. He might try and build that. Yeah, he's going to replace it. Looking to decap the sacred site. Maybe get around the back. He's possibly looking to see if he's trading. Maybe get on top of the farms. Does keep the sacred site still working though, which is kind of key. I wonder if that's what he's really playing to here, Vietnamese. This is probably the easiest one to challenge for Ezra. This one's stonewalled with a keep in place. I would love to see him just finish this off though, because he could technically still send units. He's going to dive it on the villagers on the east side, trying to break through with the rams. So Ezra trying to make a play through. Quite a few villagers idled. He definitely needs to get some trade up and running. He's got a decent amount of gold in the bank. 2,500 coming in. And to be fair, Gully's the one actually, without trade. It's a tricky one, right? Because he's got a good bank of gold, but that might expire pretty quickly if he keeps pumping out units. And keeps fighting. He might need trade for the long term. We shall see. Slowly pushing on out now. Does have a couple of culverins that could do pretty decent job against the siege if he spots it. Ezra is not paying. Is he paying attention? Oh, I think he doesn't. Oh, it's a great mangonel shot. Huge mangonel shots there for Gully. Takes out a lot of the infantry and now has to back away. That first initial engagement was absolutely massive. His mangonel is not deploying. It is now. Going to try and go for the backline. Does get a couple of good shots himself. But those 3 mangonels for Gully might just get on top of the mangonel. Doesn't even need to. It's the infantry that takes it down, and this is huge. Gully making some good strides around the back. Still getting some good raiding, but you know, the defensive units do take them apart eventually. Looking to torch through and take out trade. Why not? 4th mangonel pops out. But I gotta say, still Gully doesn't really have... I mean, he would love to see some rams for sure. The abbasids can keep out pumping. They're going to need to. They're starting to be overrun a little bit. It's a bit of a death ball of army, right? Got elite spearmen, elite man-at-arms. mangonels and a bombard. He mixed in a couple of elite archers as well. Kind of crazy he's been able to afford all of this. Trade is under pressure. There's only 5 minutes on the sacred site timer, but this one could be decapped by a ram, no less. He's sending the man-at-arms now. I think he's got to keep the sacred site alive, right? Because he might not necessarily win this fight, especially with the horsemen coming in from the south. Going to get on top of the siege. Should snipe off at least one or two mangonels. Well, there's still a good meat shield. There's still good protection there for Gully. Mostly in the form of crossbows and man-at-arms, of course. Those Ghulams hacking and slashing at the siege. Doesn't quite manage to get all of the siege. Gets the second mangonel for now. Trying to decap. Oh, that keep. I'm not sure if they. I mean, it should go up in the end, but it's a bit risky for sure. Took a couple of hits. Mainly, could have lost that if there weren't so many villagers building. Thankfully for him, there was. Now, the good thing is that there's not too much idle time for Ezra here, but he has cut off the trade. That's the big problem. No trade means no gold, no premium units, but he's still affording some crossbows, a couple of Ghulams. Massive mangonel shot there again for Gully, and another. There's so many crossbows about to go down. Ezra not moving out of the way, going to come in with the horsemen in the south, looking to try and snipe the mangonels. Should get them both, actually. So it's a decent pick off, but guess what? Here come more mangonels. 40 minutes. 46 minutes on the clock, and only 5 minutes on the sacred site timer. This is going to be challenging, right? Because if he does commit units to go to the sacred site, and this one has got to keep on it now, it almost seems over. We shall see if Ezra can deny the sacred sites or not. It's going to be a tough one. He did have trade for a long time, but that's not really working too well at the moment. Got 14 traders in total. Here comes the bombard working on the keep. Still a lot of production there, so plenty of horsemen could pop out. Up against spearmen, it's always a tricky scenario. But Gully, he's really starting to push on forward with the Vietnamese. An absolute mammoth of a game. He's managing to make it work late game. He's trading well with two mangonels involved as well. And he's keeping it protected, that's the main thing. Two bombards, spread it out. Mountains might clear this up actually for the Vietnamese, believe it or not. The feather's advantage not really working out for him. He's making horsemen, but they're super countered by their spearman numbers. Looks like Gully could do this all day. Yeah, he's trading actually at the moment. 69 gold. Yep, trade coming in thick and fast, and with that, he should be able to continue to pump out units massively. I would love to see him get more forward production buildings. In fact, he has extended a little bit. Yeah, has extended to the sacred site. Nice spot to extend to. Underneath the protection of the keep. Good mangonel shot. Those crossbows really low on health. All of a sudden, Ezra's kind of struggling. Has a trebuchet of all things. There's a strong mixed army for the Vietnamese. Does have a bombard on that right side. Looks like the horse might be heading that position to try and take that down. It does lose the keep though, unfortunately. He might lose quite a lot of siege engines. He's backing away, believe it or not. Wait, on the right side? No way. He's going to make for the play for the sacred site. He can't quite manage it. No, I don't think he can, really. There's boiling oil. There's no cannon in place, though, surprisingly enough. He's heading back to protect. Looks like he's going to do that. He's falling back here, Gully. He says, okay, well, no need to risk it. No need to keep on pushing. Can always play for the sacred sites. Horseman going to dive on in. Wait, he's going to take the sacred site? Units need to get on there if you can for Gully. He needs to keep this alive. There's a lot of horsemen. You just got to keep units on the sacred site actually, just to make sure the sacred site timer doesn't get completely decapped. It's paused for now. Spearman header here, but take a look on the north. Sending a couple of horsemen himself. It's not enough though. He's going to stop the timer for now. Only for a short while. Now, the outpost, given the extra movement speed of these units, no houses though. I'd love to see some houses here for the Vietnamese. It's got a good split of 2 armies to protect the sacred site. There it goes. Timer's ticking, 2 minutes on the clock still. Is there a way back for Ezra and the Abbasids? That's the real question. There's a trebuchet focusing on the keep. That could potentially go down pretty quickly. It's only 1 trebuchet, so maybe could look to repair here. We shall see what Gully tries to do. Doesn't have the stone for it, really. Horsemen dive on in. Without the rest of the army, I'm not so sure about that from Ezra. Waste a couple of units. 1.5 minutes on the clock, and this is not what Ezra wants to be doing. The Abbasids don't want to have their back against the sacred site victories. They need to be going towards it, but he can't quite do it just yet. He's taking the fight, crossbows in the stealth forest, but they're being absolutely mauled to pieces by the melee units. There's nothing there as a meat shield. They're too preoccupied on the west, and he's even got more army here, Gully. So the crossbows doing great work against the man-at-arms, though. Keep under pressure. Is under fire. And does get taken down. Good few trebuchets on the north. 3 of them. This is an exposed point, I've got to say. It keeps pumping on units. 44 seconds on the clock. Remains. Could come down to the wire here. We'll have to see if he can manage Ezra to deny it. This could turn out to be a sacred site victory potential here. Alright, he's neutralizing it in the north. Nope, there's only 2 horsemen. Won't be enough there. Needs to send some more. If he can, but it's finding it hard to spare units, and this is the problem. The crossbows are fighting, but there's not much of a meat shield. It allows the spearmen to get really good value against them. These are gold units after all, the crossbowmen. Fighting them up against just food and wood units. He's contesting the sacred site, making a hard play for this. But slowly but surely, Ezra's, he's pumping. I think he's got tier 3, right? Oh no, he doesn't. Oh, that's unfortunate. Needed 9 more structures. 23 seconds on the clock, and just the sheer number of miniature here. That's all he has to do. Camp out on the sacred sites. And he will be fine here, Gully, playing as the Vietnamese. Looks to be a decent civilization in the late game. I guess a lot of it comes down to the population efficiency of these farms. Although 30% fast is decent. Not like earth-shattering. Doesn't compare to the Japanese daimyo on the Shogunate Castle. He's going for the sacred site. 10 minutes. 10 seconds, rather. 10 minutes would be a long time. He's pulling all the villagers. He just has to survive here, Gully, if he can. He's got a lot of military. The main thing, he's got lots of bank of resources. And that is it, ladies and gentlemen. Gully takes the victory with the sacred site. Well, I guess it's actually a tap out in the end, but he would have won the sacred site anyway. And unfortunately, the Abbasid dynasty wasn't fit enough here to conquer the Vietnamese. Hope you guys enjoyed this showcasing of a new civilization, albeit a mod. And if you did enjoy the video, make sure you give the video a thumbs up. Take care, and see you next time.